All right. Just a really quick midpoint or midway through a series review of something that has grabbed my attention. I've stopped doing reviews for everything that I've been reading because I kind of want to have this as a really, not even a side channel, like just kind of an afterthought where only the things that I'm really, that's really grabbing my attention, I'll do a review for because I focus on writing and I have my family and my work and things like that. But this has really grabbed my attention, and I want to make this really quick. I am 2 books and about 100 pages into this series of a 4-book series. It's the Faithful and the Fallen series, starting with Malice, Valour, and then see my bookmark sticking out of Ruin, and lastly, Wrath. And there are things that I have really liked about this, and I think that you should pick it up. This is epic fantasy. This is a book or a series with big whole, of course it has a map, so I'm going to show you that. Big old continent, whole bunch of different kingdoms. Within this world, 2,000 years before this series starts, there was this big, there was a series of conflicts, but there were giants on this continent. People came in, there were clashes between the people. There were clashes between tribes of giants, and now the giants have kind of scattered. They still exist, but they're kind of in pockets of this world. And they clash with the people still, and they clash with each other. And they are waiting for, or many people are waiting, many giants are waiting as well for this great war that would end all wars. And while there are characters, in a lot of modern fantasy that I've read, there are kind of gray area characters that are, the good people aren't necessarily totally good and the bad people aren't necessarily totally bad. And we have some of that here. But in this book, it's kind of more on the vein of a lot of classic fantasy where there is a clear force for good clashing with a clear force for evil. And a lot of the characters that you come to know and love are more in the vein also of kind of a fellowship sort of thing, like the Fellowship of the Ring. And when you see them, you're just going to root for them. And also, what this author does, and it's one of the things that I love about these books and has drawn me in. It is also the thing that I've hated about these books in a good way. There's a lot of tension, and it's given me so much heartache. This author is not afraid to mess with your favorite characters and even just kill them. Now, there are tons of characters, so that's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler to say that people are going to die and you're going to be feeling like you got a kick in the nads when it's happened. Probably several times. Here's a big glossary, I guess you could say, at the front of the second book. I wish it was a part of the first book. This has kind of an appendix of kingdoms and some of the main characters to keep track of, because there are a lot of characters. This is a clash between kingdoms, kings in councils with each other, backstabbing, that sort of thing. Kind of probably on the vein of some other big fantasies that go on. There's more names here. Probably 100 names. That seems a little bit daunting. I usually don't go into these big epic fantasies because I just can't keep track of everything. But I'm glad that it has that glossary, and it's really not so big of a deal. Now, these chapters, they fly by. And they're big books, though. They fly by, and he's not very wordy. I'm kind of I like purple prose, or whatever you call it. I kind of like that, but I appreciate here that this author really trims the fat and keeps things moving along. You will not spend too much time twiddling your thumbs waiting for something to happen. There's almost always something exciting happening, something intriguing, and all those words to describe something fun and exciting and thrilling or whatever else. You have to be used to sometimes losing your favorite characters or some favorite characters, but it just makes it that much more appealing, and you hope that there's going to be great resolution. I'm hooked. I'm absolutely a fan. I think you should give it a chance. Now, content warning for these: no vulgarity, as far as I could tell. There is a talking bird, a talking raven in this, and I think that's the only character that kind of has any sort of coarse language or anything like that, but not even really then. It's quite clean. It's quite clean that way. Also, sexual content, really not to be found. There was one time, I think, in the second book where it was implied that something something happened, but it doesn't go into any details with that. But it happened. With the content warning that will get you is with the violence. There are heads being lopped off. It shows battles, duels, all of that, and there will be there's a lot of that. Now, one of the things that John Gwynne also does really well is writing these battles. I usually kind of skip through battles. I don't need big spectacle to be into a book. I'm more interested in the characters and the tension for them, which it has a lot of that. And I don't really need a whole bunch of spectacle and superpowers and things like that. As soon as people start flying around in books, it's usually sort of loses me. I like a sword and shield and axe and spear. Oh, and club, and spear. That's my kind of thing. And it has a lot of that. This is a gritty book in that way. Now, there is spectacle and magic and things like that. There's giants, but it's really cool. There's wolves and animals and kind of a version of dragons sort of stuff. There's omens and prophecies and a lot of the tropes that you might come to expect in fantasy. What was I going to say? Oh, with the battles and the duels. I haven't been sucked in by battle sequences or even duels more than I have with John Gwynne. For a variety of reasons. He can make a simple duel between two people feel engaging. Think Princess Bride, Inigo Montoya with Wesley, having their sword fight, talking with each other, and it's just engaging. He can write that way, not just because there's good dialogue between it, but you can also see the flourishes and the different kinds of things that they're doing. He's very visual, or he's good at painting a very visual picture, and he's concise with it as well. He really moves things along. Now, another reason why, and it's not just duels, there's big battles as well. But one of the reasons, as I mentioned before, why I was so sucked in is there is tension in these duels because he makes you realize that he's not going to just protect everyone. They are going to have to, there's consequences for the actions of these characters. He's not nice to all of his characters, especially the ones that we sometimes come to love. And it has broken my heart several times in the first two books, but I just couldn't be more excited about what I've read so far. I will, and I'm expecting that it's only going to continue. The first book was a lot of really cool, a buildup of this world, of these different kingdoms and characters, kind of showing some standout characters. And the second book just took that and ramped it up to 10. And I expect in the third book that it's just going to keep doing that. Really excited. I will probably give my thoughts once it's done, but I have been so pleased with the first two books. And I think if you're looking for something challenging, because there are a lot of characters, but something kind of fun and moves along and seems kind of familiar as well, but has a lot of unique things, give it a try. And let me know how you think or what you think. And if you've read them all, let me know what you love about it. But please keep in mind that I don't want to be spoiled. So I'm going to try to read through these over the next month. Read the last couple. And I will talk to you later. Thanks.